I'm ready to go.
Okay, with Anthony Carruthers, TARARUA SK is the short film play, the documentary film festival. He's from New Zealand. It's 22 minutes long. It's I'm doing this podcast at 10 o'clock at night in Toronto. Where are you right now?
So I'm in Wellington, New Zealand, and it's 3 o'clock on the day
The
before.
following day. So you're yeah. So we're doing
Yeah,
this on Tuesday in my time, so it's Wednesday you in New Zealand, right?
yeah, yeah,
You guys are 15 hours ahead.
yeah,
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
so what is TARARUA SK? What is TARARUA? Like, first of all, tell us what that is.
Sure. So the the Tararua Ranges is a range of mountains just north of Wellington in New Zealand, and the Tararua Range is famous in New Zealand for being the home of tramping or hiking in New Zealand. So it was one of the first places that tramping and hiking started in New Zealand.
So you're the first minute of the film is that you're giving us a lot of shots of these mountains and from your
Yeah.
kind of phone kind of angle, right? So your selfie angle, and all we're seeing is beautiful, obviously beautiful skylines, but we're also seeing climate change like drastically. Like it's snowing in one shot, then it's like really hot and sweaty in the next shot. So I'm assuming that these mountains are like the higher you go, the climate changes with the distance, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so we have a winter and a summer season, and the range isn't particularly high. So in summer, most of the time there's no snow up there, although every now and then you do get a little bit.
Yeah.
But in winter time, we get quite a bit of snow on the tops of the ranges, and inside of the film, we've got footage which has been shot over many years that makes up the footage from the film.
So that your tagline of the film is have you ever wondered what it feels like to push your limits in the wild, facing the ultimate physical challenge? And then
Yeah,
if you answer yes, then the Tararua SK Traverse is waiting for you and it's ready to go. That's it's sort of so you're telling this cohesive beginning, middle, and end story with this thematic, but at the same time you're kind of promoting with like you're also promoting New Zealand and the mountains at the same time too, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
New Zealand's an amazing country, and we have a lot of incredible back country, a lot of really wild country,
Yeah.
and I think what one of the most incredible things about New Zealand is the fact that um, it's so sparsely populated. So in the Tararua Range, it's not uncommon to go adventuring into that range, and you won't see another soul for a few days. So it's a yeah, and there are lots of places in New Zealand like that. We only have 5 million people who live in New Zealand, and we've got about the same land mass as the United Kingdom. So where they have a lot more than 5 million people. So
You sure do.
yeah,
This is a North American question, so don't be offended. Was
no.
did they film Lord of the Rings in the Tararua Mountains?
Uh, so I don't think any of the Lord of the Rings was filmed in the Tararua range.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of,
Okay.
but there was lots of filming done quite close by. So
Yeah.
just actually at the uh, kind of at the foot of the range, though, there's definitely a spot there that was part of Lord of the Rings. So very close.
You know that's what people are wondering, right? That's just like, especially
Yeah,
this certain generation from that
yeah,
from yeah from behind us, like all the Gen Xers, and they want to know about the Lord of the Rings, right? So
absolutely. We often see visitors who are out there checking out some of the Lord of the Rings spots, and we're grateful to have the visitors and have the interest in our great places.
So obviously you love these mountains. When did you start when did you start filming? When did you start like being a filmmaker? When did you decide to like you want to make a film about this?
Well, look, for many years I've been making little films, and it really started. I would go on an adventure. I would film that adventure, and I would make a little trip video about that adventure when I came back, because I wanted to share it with my friends and my family. I wanted to show them, the amazing country that I'd been in. And then over the years, I became a little frustrated that my friends and family weren't that excited about watching this little video. And so I decided that I wanted to get better at making film and video, and so I went to the Adventure Film School, which is run in New Zealand as part of the New Zealand Mountain Film Festival, and I did that a couple of years ago. And after doing that film school course, I decided that I wanted to make a film about the Tararua SK,
Mhm.
and so I started on that project. And really my motivation behind it is really about inspiring people to go on adventures. And so when I'd go on an adventure and I'd shoot this footage and I'd come back and show my friends and family, like there were pretty pictures, but there was no story, and there was nothing for them
Yeah.
to be able to kind of grasp hold of.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the missing piece. So yeah, I went to school, and I learned all about how to make these adventure documentaries. That for years I'd been going to the mountain film festivals and watching these things.
Yeah.
And it was probably 10 years ago I went to my first real mountain film festival, and I was like, wow, I was just so inspired by watching those stories. It made me want to go on adventures. And at that time, I, I kind of created this dream that one day I'd be able to create something that, people wanted to watch and that inspired other people. And yeah, so that's kind of my journey.
So you're because it's interesting that you just mentioned that because I wanted to talk about the storytelling aspects because I see a lot of films and sometimes these adventure films are like, yeah, they look great, but they're what's the point? What's the story to be basic about it? So
Yeah.
okay, so you basically give it you like so from a practical standpoint, you show us what the setting in a unique way, kind of like the different points of view of the setting. We love it, it's beautiful as the audience. Then you kind of give us an origin story of like the characters involved in it, people who know it best. And then you kind of give us, then you start a tale of like where we're gonna go. Like you kind of give like a point of like of basically of like the adventure itself, I guess, right? So when you started filming, I'm assuming you wrote a script and said, okay, this is what I'm going to do when I start filming the documentary.
Um, so when I planned it, when I started my plan, I I'd done a storytelling, a documentary storytelling course,
Okay.
and so with that, I had a few templates to kind of start me on my thinking around how I was gonna tell a story and what story I was going to tell. And yeah, it was, and in the end, probably what I ended up with was something kind of similar to my plan,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a straight line to get to that plan.
Sure.
So, where I started out was I had some key characters that I wanted to interview to get their perspective. And from that I had some really good sound bites that I wanted to include in the story. But then I had to find a way to weave those together, and I kind of had a loose idea about how I might weave that together, but my plan around that didn't work. So I then had to go back to the drawing board, and I got some really good advice from a friend of mine who's a very good filmmaker, and he said, "Look, you've got to have a narrator to connect together your themes in your story." And um and yeah, so then it was my film, so I had to become a narrator. And
Yeah.
I had to
You had to
and I
put
had to
yourself in the story. You had to put your like you're
yeah,
this is your story, right? So yeah,
yeah, well, and that was uncomfortable. And
sure.
it wasn't really my initial plan, um but I'm really pleased that we got there, and the coaching that I got around it was, you know you've got to also tell your story. You can't just narrate.
Yeah.
This is your film. You love this area. You love this adventure and this
Mhm.
challenge. You've had these amazing experiences on it, as well as telling the rest of the story. Your personal story is also important to it. So you've got to you know you've just got to go for it. And
Yeah.
so that was very uncomfortable, but it was it seems to have worked out, and people seem to like it, so that's great.
Yeah, well, because if you think about the nature documentaries, which I'm assuming you've seen more than a few, is that they're from an observational level, right? So there's a narrator generally, but it's always like from a distance, even the way that it's narrated, right? But your film, it's like you're with us, right? Even the shooting style, right? Like a lot of
Yeah,
it is that we're the character, right? And so with that kind of tone, with that kind of filmmaking, it has to get emotion, it has to be individualized, if that makes sense. So you had to be
yeah,
the story, you had to. Yeah, that's just
yeah.
the way you filmed it.
Yeah. So yeah,
So this is your first film, correct?
yeah. This is my first film. This is
So everything you're experiencing, even talking to me now, like doing other interviews at other festivals, getting the screenings, this is all your first kind of show. This is your first show in a sense.
yeah. This is my first show. This is the first time I've submitted anything to a film festival, uh, and this is the first time I've uh, been on, you know, been taking it out to the world. I was absolutely rapt. I was, thrilled to get selected for the New Zealand festival, and then from there, we had a few screenings, and I've submitted it to a few festivals around the world, and I was thrilled to be selected in Toronto, and very very humbled to win an award, the best human interest film, which just was an just an incredible experience, and a great just made me and a whole lot of people involved in making the film uh, extraordinarily proud. So it's
Yeah,
a
no,
big thrill.
it's amazing because you're like a full-fledged filmmaker now, right? So are you gonna
Yeah,
I'm assuming you're gonna make more films?
absolutely. I will make more films, and I will. Yeah, I mean, it will be. I said after I finished this film that I would spend the next year promoting this film
Mm.
before I went and made another film.
Yeah.
I have subsequently made a couple of kind of small little kind of trip kind of videos or films, but yeah, nothing of this type of magnitude.
Yeah.
And it did surprise me what a beast it became to make. It was a big project. It was very very tough, but also you know also very rewarding. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm starting to pull together some ideas for the next one.
Now it's there forever, right? So it's like, yeah. So
Yeah,
sometimes when you go down a path, like you get you have to like you're in the middle of it and you're like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? And you got that, the fears and insecurities come about, right? And then you just gotta kind of make it up along the way, and either you're gonna quit or you're gonna keep going, I guess, right? It's like going on an adventure. It really
yeah,
is, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And sometimes you need people to push you, right? Like to keep going, right? Because if you, it's never an individualized effort, right? So
absolutely not. And yeah, I think that's one of the things I really love about going on adventures in the wilderness is going there, you know, with my friends and having that incredible shared experience. And making this film has been an incredible shared experience as well. We've got 7 different characters who I interviewed for the film, and then we've got a whole community of people in you know in my region who absolutely love this adventure and are part of this incredible community.
yeah,
And it's been a great journey for our whole community around the film. And to have people on the other side of the world watching it and recognizing it is yeah, it's very special.
so there's some little like fun, nice little gems in your film where like you're showing, I think like halfway through the film, maybe, yeah, with no, well, I guess like more than halfway through, you're showing the animation where like with the traveling, and you're
Yeah,
showing like how much food, because I guess you're eating a lot of food, right? Because you're burning so many calories every day. Something you don't think about, but yeah, it's like you must have to like just consume food. Like
yeah,
if you're burning so like thousands of calories every day, right?
yeah. Well, the doing the traverse consumes about 15,000 calories.
That's crazy. So you have to like
Yeah.
you have to eat 15,000 calories, like
Well,
generally.
yeah. I mean, it's really hard to eat that many calories, right?
Yeah.
Like I think I said in the film, it's like
Oh,
it's like 140 gels or like 56 Big Macs or
that's
something.
yeah, that's what you're
It's
saying. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, yeah.
So
Because that's what people
yeah,
don't
you've got to
understand. Like
be.
these swimmers, right? Like Australia is huge. Australia, New Zealand, they love their
Yep.
swimming. And these guys, these the professional athletes, they have to like go to like Denny's or like they eat like pancakes and maple syrup, and because they're just burning so many calories every day, right? They
Yeah.
just have to like eat like all this like junk food, I guess, in a sense, but because you need
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
You need the hydration, so you need lots of fluids.
yeah,
But yeah, you need lots of calories, and you need to be consuming those the whole time. And actually, one of the biggest reasons for failure on the route on the Tararua SK is when you start getting tired and you start getting mentally tired, it's hard to keep eating.
yeah.
And sometimes if you start getting too dehydrated, it's hard to keep eating as well. And you don't have to stop eating for too long, and your body just doesn't have the energy just to keep going. So you've got to stop and rest and recover. So yeah.
And you got to bring the food with you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the questions I was watching your film, and it's like, is there any animals around? Is there any, like, you're going to all these paths, you're going through these woods, or is there any like nature or like animals around these areas?
Yeah, so we're very lucky that we don't have any animals that will eat us, which is which is
Yeah,
great.
I
You know,
guess
we
so.
don't.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't be doing it if you did. I guess, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have any bears. We don't have any snakes. We don't have we don't have any poisonous spiders. So it's all pretty safe. But there are animals. So there so there's deer. So there's definitely deer in the range that you see from time to time. There are wild pigs that you see from time to time, and we also we have some we have some rodents. We have possums, which are they're kind of like a little furry, kind of horrible little creatures,
Yeah.
and quite often you see them at night. So
No
yeah, so
mosquitoes.
no, we don't we don't get mosquitoes in that in the range. There are the from time to time you might get a few around some of the lower lying areas where there's water, but there's not a huge amount of insects, especially on the main Tararua SK route. The, you're up quite high, so most of the route you're above the bush line. So often you don't get many insects when you're up that high.
So yeah, so there's some really nice direction in this film, and there's some great interviews. How was your experience interviewing? Like, you got at least six or seven, I think it's seven, I think I counted, interviews.
Yeah.
Like, how many? How was that experience doing the interviews with these people?
Oh, it was a real privilege, to be interviewing somebody about something that they love and, having them get, excited about it and, sharing their stories. It
Mhm.
was just, it was a really amazing experience. And to, you know, one of the first people to ever complete the weekend challenge across the Tararua SK.
Yeah,
A guy by the name of Dave Kappa, who you'll meet in the film, and Dave is now 93.
yeah, he's a great interview. Yeah,
Yeah, and just I mean, I interviewed him for. I mean, I think we sat down for a couple of hours, and we just had the greatest chat. He told me his all about his history, where he grew up, and just all of these amazing things that he'd done in his life. And yeah, it was just incredible. So,
he seems pretty
uh,
spry at 93 too, right? I think he's got like
oh,
20 more years left in him at least.
so sharp, right? Like his
Yeah,
brain is just super sharp. He's losing some of his mobility. So,
sure. Well, he's
that's
93. Yeah, like,
he's
yeah,
93.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
amazing.
then,
Yeah. I thought that was the
what's
key interview in your film, like, because
okay.
it showed history, it showed like, you know what I mean. There's something there, and it's like, this is what I want. I actually wanted this to do it, and I think that people watching your film basically want to do it as well. So it's like, yeah, and it's like there's something kind of magnificent about it. If there's no mosquitoes, it's like, yeah, it's even better, right? So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just amazing. For your first film, it's a really solid film. What I was curious before we leave you, what did you think about obviously New Zealand, Toronto? What did you think about what the audience had to say, the North American audience had to say about your film and the feedback video that we sent you?
Oh, I mean, I was just blown away. I mean, I was, yeah, like it brought tears to my eyes. Like it was incredible. It was incredible to hear and to see how the story about the heart and spirit of our community, that it was being appreciated you know by a global audience, and that it was having an impact on people outside of our community, and the people that know this area
Mhm.
was was just amazing. And it was fabulous to see that the film was having the impact that I dreamed of, that would help inspire people to want to go on an adventure,
Yeah.
which is is the dream.
And so then at the end of the film, you gave tribute to your wife and you have three children, right?
Yeah,
Let me see if I remember. It's a Ruby, Rose, and what's the third? Is it Max? No.
Lila.
Did I say Ruby? Is it Lila?
So it's Ruba, Rose,
Yeah.
and Lila.
Okay, Ruba, Rose, and I said Ruby. Yeah, so Ruba, Rose, and Lila. So like that. Yeah, those are good names. Yeah. So
Yeah.
are they going to go on an adventure with you? All three, or one of them in the future?
Oh, we already go on lots of adventures.
No, I mean this
So
adventure, that one that you put in you had in the film.
so well, I've already done parts of the Tararua SK with my daughters,
Okay.
and my middle daughter Rose is very keen to do the full route. So yeah, that might be later this year. We
Yeah.
might go and do that soon. So yeah,
Maybe your daughters would agree with me, but the one thing that was missing with your film was that it needs some female energy. So
yeah. So we had a couple of
no, I know, I'm kidding around with you. Yeah, but yeah. So, but yeah, the sequel is it's an all female journey, I guess, right? So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
all right, man. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's already daytime in New Zealand, so I wish you the best. And like you said, you seem like you're kind of toying with another project. So keep making movies. This one's amazing, and it's just I know now the second one's always the more difficult one from my experience, right? So because you
Yeah,
already figured out now you're not going on instinct. You're not like you have information. You know things. So
yeah.
sometimes it's like you know what I mean? But keep going, keep doing it. I want to see what you do next.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and your support.